Well, hey, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome back to the channel for this, John Campea's Open Mic. The Open Mic is really just that. It is your open mic. We are here to talk about whatever things you guys want to talk about with the questions that you guys send in. And there's two ways to send in questions. The first way is by using our tip link. If you think of a question you'd like to have asked on the show, you don't have to wait for the show to be live to send it in. You can send it in anytime, 24/7, by going over to our tip link that you can find at streamelements.com/John Campea/tip. 2 a.m, you thought crosses your head, go ahead and send it in then. Also, the second way is if you are watching live and you think of a question you have while we're doing the show, go ahead and use the super chat feature in the live chat and we will get to those questions. And as long as they're questions that we deem appropriate to be used on the show. All right. Now, before we get into those live questions, I wanted to talk about something here because earlier today on the John Campea Show podcast, one of our channel members sent in a question about Superman and Fantastic Four and which one, are we looking forward to more? Which one might get the attention at CinemaCon? But we also had somebody use our Mint Mobile hotline question. We didn't choose it to be used today, but one of our viewers did call in on the Mint Mobile hotline to ask the question about what do we expect to see at Comic-Con? A Superman announcement or a Fantastic Four announcement? And if both, maybe, which one do we want to see more, right? Which one are we more excited to hear? The casting announcements for Fantastic Four, the casting announcements for Superman. Now, there's a couple of variables here when talking about this, because this is important stuff, Ray. Mm-hmm. I don't think you're taking this seriously enough.
No.
You don't look like you're taking this seriously enough.
I actually have a point that I want to make after your
All right, fair enough. Just as long as you're taking it serious enough, because this is important stuff.
No, it is. Especially for DC, I think.
Well, absolutely.
It's the kickoff to the thing.
That's right.
And then Marvel just has to stay afloat.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
It's like life support for both of them.
Yeah.
So here's the two different thoughts. On the one hand, you might think more excited for Fantastic Four announcements because, well, there's 4 of them. Right? Well, 5 if you want to count Doctor Doom. Mm-hmm. But at minimum, there's going to be 4 casting announcements to come along with it. Who's going to play Johnny Storm? Who's going to play Ben Grimm, a.k.a. The Thing? Who's going to play Sue Storm? Who's going to play Reed Richards? And then, of course, Victor Von Doom, if they have Doom in the first one. So there's that. On the other hand, there's Superman. And Superman is Superman. He's the granddaddy of all superheroes. The most. I don't think it's hyperbole to say Superman is the most important superhero character. You don't have to be a DC fan. You don't even have to be a Superman fan per se. But I think most sane people will say, not everybody, but I think most people would say that the most important superhero is Superman. And the next chapter of the Superman saga, if you will, after, we had Christopher Reeve and Brandon Routh and Smallville and my most recent and my favorite Superman, Henry Cavill, who's picking up that mantle. And like you pointed out, Ray, the thing is, this is kicking off. This Superman movie, Superman Legacy, is kicking off not just a new chapter for Superman, it's kicking off an entire new era of DC on the big screen. Mm-hmm. This is the first film. Whereas Fantastic Four, we've had a couple of kicks of the can. None of them have really been successful. And it's just the next thing in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm still excited about it. Don't get me wrong. I can't wait. I'm very enthused for it. But it's just chapter 33 in the MCU. This Superman film is the number 1. So here's what I think is going to happen. I do think, and I've no proof of this, no information. This is just me guessing. Pure guess as a fan. All right. My guess is that we're going to get the announcement of who is playing Superman at Comic-Con. I think James Gunn loves Comic-Con. I think he will make his announcement about who is playing the new Superman at Comic-Con. I think he's already cast him. I think Superman's already been cast. I don't care what James Gunn or anybody else says. I believe he's already picked his Superman. I bet he's already picked his Superman for a while. But that's just me. But I think that announcement comes at Comic-Con. I think there's a 50% chance that Kevin Feige does some kind of panel at Comic-Con this year, and at that Comic-Con panel, Fantastic Four gets announced. Look, either way, I think we're pretty close to when both of them are being announced, but I think it is the bigger chance that it'll be Superman. And I think the Superman announcement is more important. I mean, for all the reasons I mentioned. Again, don't misinterpret that as me saying I'm not super stoked for the Fantastic Four announcements. Of course I am. But this is Superman. This is the beginning of a new DC chapter. And that's why, Ray, who cares about debt ceiling? Who cares about the White House and Congress negotiating over raising the debt ceiling? Not important. This is the important stuff. So, Ray, you said you had a thought about this.
The debt will take care of itself.
That's right. That's
that
good
will just
financial
go away.
advice.
You just keep doing what you're doing.
Debt will take care of itself.
You know what? I see Fantastic Four, the announcement. If Marvel even attends ComicCon, I don't know. They haven't really
nothing guaranteeing they will.
For our last ComicCon, I think it was only TV announcements, maybe TV stuff. But out of both those two, I agree with you. I think James Gunn will announce at ComicCon because it's like the kickoff to his thing.
Yeah.
Right? His thing is so important. It's like if you've enjoyed what DC put out, you're gonna enjoy it more. If you didn't like what DC put out, forget about all that. This is brand new. This is us now. It's like a big movie, like bigger than probably we all think it's. Well, I think it's a huge movie, like for in order to win fans over to this new thing that he's gonna do.
Yeah.
Marvel, I could see them just announcing Fantastic Four as the weeks go by. Silently, maybe one by one. I don't think they do a big thing. Is DC fandom even a thing anymore?
I don't think that's a thing anymore.
Okay, so Comic-Con is going to be the place where James Gunn makes that announcement. And he's going to go all out, I think, because it's James Gunn, right? I mean, everyone loves him. The Fantastic Four, I'm not sure if that's going to be a big announcement. I don't see it. Even at D23, I don't know. They might do it at D23. Well, they have so many options to do. Oh, there's no more?
There's no D23 this year. I think they only do it like every other year.
Well,
here's how I see it. You know what I think it is? You know what Superman is? Superman is the schlubby guy of the week on Queer Eye for the straight guy. You know how it goes. I've seen 2 episodes. Don't mock me. My wife watches this thing, but the 2 episodes I've seen, it's the same thing every time, right? There's some schlubby guy. His beard is all scraggly. His hair is unkempt. He's got terrible fashion sense. Actually, this is sounding more and more like me. But he's got terrible fashion sense, all this kind of stuff. And he's got this friend who's this woman in his life that has been in the friend zone for too long, and he really wants the makeover. And the Queer Eye guys come in. They give him great hair. They give him great facial hair do-over. They put him in the right wardrobe, give him an exercise routine, and then he comes out at the end, the new and improved version of the guy, right? That's what Superman is. And DC is. DC is like crawling along, limping along after the car wreck of Black Adam and Shazam 2. It's just dragging its bum leg along and all kind of stuff, and the belly hanging over its belt buckle.
Wait, John.
What are you talking about?
We just saw The Flash, and that was a good movie.
Oh, I know, but nobody else.
Blue Beetle might be good. Aquaman might be good. I don't know.
I know nobody else, but that's the state DC is in, right?
Yeah,
they just had 2 movies in a row that made under $400 million. One of them made under $200 million. So here comes schlubby DC, right? It's like, hey, Queer Eye, help me out, right? That's the state DC's in right now. And what James Gunn is, I don't know the names of any of the Queer Eye guys, but James Gunn is the Queer Eye guy saying, don't worry, DC, I'm going to make you over. And Superman Legacy is the big reveal. That's a reveal. When DC comes out through those curtains, tight abs now, good clothes, fly hairstyle.
You know the problem with that episode is it's going to take the whole week to finish that episode because between every take, James Gunn is on Twitter replying to
everybody's question.
Hold on, we'll finish the episode tomorrow. Wait, I need to.
So that's it. I mean, Superman Legacy is the reveal of Queer Eye for the DC guy. No. That's what's going to be. It's going to be key.
You didn't sell that at all, man.
Look at this.
You didn't sell that at all. Whoa. How'd you find that pic of me?
Don't worry.
That's my cosplay of Superman.
Oh my God! If they made a suit like that where you could put it on with all that stuff on there, I mean, I could fill that suit in pretty good.
First, somebody in the live chat, I think it was Jason Clark, says first official picture of Superman Legacy. This is the storyboard art for Superman Legacy.
No, but I agree. I think Superman is going to have the Comic-Con announcement glory or whatever. Marvel, I just don't. I could see it either way. I don't think it's...
Now, this could change real quick depending on, let's for argument's sake, all right, just for argument's sake, let's say they do announce both. Let's say Marvel does decide to do a panel at Comic-Con. They decide to announce Fantastic Four casting, and James Gunn is there, and he announces Superman. Okay. I'm saying the far more important, far more buzz, because there's so much more riding on it, is the Superman casting. I mean, but that could change depending on who they bring out on stage, right? So let's say it's the summer now. Kevin Feige's on stage at Comic-Con. He's like, it's my pleasure now to introduce you to the new generation, the new Fantastic Four. Playing Reed Richards, Brad Pitt. And Brad Pitt comes out with a little gray in the side of his hair. Mm-hmm. He walking out, ladies and gentlemen, you're Sue Storm, Margot Robbie. Mm-hmm. Margot Robbie comes walking out
Zach
there.
Galifianakis as Johnny Storm.
Who would be a good one for Johnny Storm?
Man, just pick it. Glenn Powell.
Glenn Powell. It's fresh off of Top Gun Maverick.
He should be Johnny Cage too.
Comes out and says Johnny Storm and Ben Grimm. Let's go. Bryan Cranston. Cranston.
He'll be so disgruntled.
Talking like this.
Or the only way they could overshadow the Superman announcement.
What's that?
Is they announce Eddie Murphy plays all of Fantastic Four. All members of the Fantastic Four, like he did. Like I was trying to
Barbershop or whatever.
I was trying to think of all the actors that had played the one person in one or multiple people.
The Coming to America
Barbershop.
Eddie Murphy is all four members of. Okay, somebody out there with supreme art skills, you need to put together for me a poster of Fantastic Four with Eddie Murphy playing all four main roles.
For me, that's what it's gonna take, because I think the Superman announcement has more impact and way more meaning to the DC property than Fantastic Four, because there's a lot of people that say, do we need Fantastic Four? I mean, even if you picked some crazy actors, I still don't think that property is overshadowed, will beat Superman. I don't like Superman. I mean, I never did, because he's overpowered, but I liked Henry Cavill's Superman. That was one of the ones that I accepted.
Right.
So this one's important to me, at least. I'm not going to speak for everyone else. Everyone's different, but I think the Superman casting is going to be important. It might even decide whether I go see it or not. If like the guy's too young, I'm like, I don't want to see that Superman.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now I don't care. This is all I want now. I don't care about anything else. It doesn't matter who they announce now. All I want is Eddie Murphy and playing all four roles. A Fantastic Four.
What are you doing, Sue?
That's all I want to see now. That would be like gold. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What about you? I mean, we've had the question coming in a couple of times today about, what would be the bigger announcement to you? The Superman casting, the Fantastic Four casting? I just think there's more riding on the Superman one, but maybe you don't. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, with that down, let's get on to what we are really here to do, which is open mic. Step up to the mic now. The mic is yours. What do you guys want to talk about? We're going to start off with the tip questions that you guys sent in. Again, you can send in a tip question anytime, 24/7. You don't have to wait for the show to be live. So we got a couple of them in there. So, Jonathan, what do we got?
All right, first up, we've got Noelia Jacket Parker, who writes, I have a huge passion for movies, so much that I go to the theater almost 3 times a week.
Nice.
To get A-list. I'm on pace for 140 2023 movies,
nice.
Streaming combined, foreign movies as well. My top 3 are Creed 3, John Wick 4, Sisu, my worst, Knights of Zodiac.
I'm not familiar with Knights of Zodiac.
Me either. I think, I actually saw a poster for it.
I did too.
Really? Before. Yeah.
I'm not familiar. My favorite movie of the year, I think it would go in this order right now, which I think my number one favorite film of the year right now is Air, with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. I think my second favorite movie of the year is John Wick 4. And Creed 3 might be my third favorite. The third Creed might be my third favorite movie of the year so far. Yeah. Maybe I'm forgetting a film here or two, but do you know which one that is? Does anybody look that up?
Oh, nice. Oh, okay. No, I'll look it up right now.
All right, well, we'll get around to it.
Besides his last pick, I mean, I think me and him
I forgot. No, I'm bumping Creed 3 off, and I'm putting Guardians of the Galaxy 3 in my third spot. But as soon as Flash opens, that's getting replaced.
Okay.
Like I like Flash more than Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Although, I mean, I love Guardians of the Galaxy 3, but I think Flash is the better movie. But hey, I'm seeing Little Mermaid this weekend. We got Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse coming out next week. And
This looks interesting.
Yeah, it looks like it's a movie based off of anime.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It got a 4.5 out of 10 on IMDb, but you know what? Who cares? Who cares? If you like it, you like it.
So somebody's reminding me, John, about Joyride. Since Flash has not officially come out, I'm not putting it on the list. And since Joyride has not officially come out, I'm not putting that on the list. Once they're officially out in theaters, then I'll add them to my list. All right, what's next?
Okay, we got Ryan with the two-parter here. 2 anime movies were released on Crunchyroll. To Every You I Loved Before, and To Me, The One Who Love You. They are multiverse movies that tell an intertwining love story about characters who shift between worlds and experience the parallel lives. They were made to be watched in either order to interpret the experience of overarching story differently. Oh, that's interesting. You say movies are experiential, and these two create unique experiences. Could you see a streamer attempt to experiment with a similar format?
I think you're going to see a lot of experimentation over the next couple of years. Like, we are such recency biased in everything in life that when we think of streaming, we think, well, streaming's been around forever. No, streaming isn't even in its infancy. I mean, it barely broke its mother's water. Streaming is so brand new. And like, look at the amount of changes that have gone into the world of streaming in just a couple of years, right? It came out of the gate just a couple of years ago. And then there was this phase where everybody thought everything was going to be streaming. Streaming is replacing everything. Streaming. Well, then just a year later, all the streamers are like, turns out streaming isn't the be all end all. We're all losing money. We've all had to adapt our things. I mean, it only took Netflix over a decade to finally become profitable. We realized that movies make more money in movie theaters and then help streaming make money after that. Like, it's gone through all that changes in just like 2 years. So, and now we're seeing merging. We're seeing some disappear, some new ones emerge. We just had Max come out. We've got Paramount Plus and Showtime are now merging in together. Disney Plus apparently is going to be merging Hulu into it. Like, all these rapid changes.
Don't forget Apple.
Apple's there. I mean, Apple's doing its thing, and it hasn't even really, like, as much as Apple TV Plus is doing, I don't even think they've started yet.
Yeah, they're starting to make movies now.
Yeah, they're
That's
just
dangerous.
starting to get their engines revving, right?
Yeah.
So I think over the next couple of years, the type of format experimenting, as you're talking about there, as far as content experimenting, I think you're going to see a lot of streamers try a lot of different things because they're all going to be trying to find ways to make their streaming service stand out from the others. And you're going to see a lot of experimentation. A lot of things are going to be fooled around. Most of it won't stick, but I think you're going to see a lot of that in the future, and maybe something exactly like that too. All right, what's next?
Okay, last of the tips here. Boomstick Beth is back writing, sticking to my guns that Yellow Jackets is the best show on TV. If nothing else, it definitely has the best music. Not a spoiler, but can't tell me it's not epic when last week there was a chase scene, and when it kicked off, you hear, "The world is a vampire."
Yeah, again, I'm a big fan of Yellowstone. Now I have
Yellow Jackets.
Yellow Jackets. Sorry, I'm a big fan of Yellow Jackets. Now I've only watched one episode of the new season, so I am behind. But I watched the first season. Really impressed with it. Really good show. Again, not in my top 5 of like the best shows on TV right now, but that's just me. But it's an excellent show. They do a lot of things right. The performances are always top notch. And if you have not checked out Yellow Jackets yet, do yourself a favor and give it a shot because I think it's something you just might enjoy. All right. Now, before we go on here, we got a bunch of your questions to get to. We're going to take just a moment here right now and thank the sponsors of today's episode of Open Mic, our friends at Helix and my mobile service provider, Mint Mobile. This video is sponsored by Helix Sleep. Their Memorial Day sale is running now, and it's a great time to upgrade your mattress. You can get 25% off your purchase for a limited time. Check out the Helix site for more details. Guys, Helix Sleep offers the best premium mattresses, custom fit to your needs, conveniently shipped right to your door. And in case you're not 100% sure which mattress is best for you, Helix Sleep's quiz matches you to the perfect mattress based on your body type and sleep preferences. Guys, you know Ann and I have had our Helix mattress for almost a year. And even when we go to Las Vegas and stay in these beautiful hotel rooms, we can't wait to get home to get a great night's sleep in our Helix mattress. The mattress comes rolled up in a box and is easy to set up, and there's even a 100-night sleep trial to test the mattress out to ensure that you love it. And good news, Helix is having a great Memorial Day sale that goes from May 15th to June 4th. Visit helixsleep.com/Campea to get 25% off your Helix mattress plus 2 free pillows during their Memorial Day sale, running now for a limited time. We want to thank a sponsor of this video, Mint Mobile. From the gas pump to the grocery store, your utility bills and favorite streaming services, inflation is everywhere. Seriously, make it stop. Thankfully, there's one company out there that's giving you a much needed break. It's Mint Mobile. As the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, Mint Mobile lets you order from home and save a ton with phone plans starting at just $15 a month. You guys know that ever since I switched to Mint Mobile, I've been saving almost 70% a month over my old phone plan. For people looking for extra savings this year, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. By going online only and eliminating the traditional cost of retail, Mint Mobile passes the significant savings on to you. All of their plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all your existing contacts. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at Helix and, of course, my mobile service provider, Mint Mobile, for sponsoring this episode. Remember, guys, when you check out and support our sponsors, you're actually supporting us. So if you go down to the description of this video, you'll find links and promo codes to both of our sponsors. And thank you again to Mint Mobile and, of course, my best sleep I've ever had, thanks to Helix. All right. With that down, guys, let's keep going on with your questions here, shall we? Jonathan, what do we got up here next?
Okay, we've got Dance Productions who writes, John, what do you think about the Idol reviews? I love The Weeknd's music, but I just feel like he teamed up with the wrong person to do this show.
Well, I mean, why would, if the show's not good, because the reviews have been pretty scathing that I've seen. I've not watched the show. Why would you think it's just that The Weeknd partnered up with somebody else? What has The Weeknd ever written? And I say this respectfully because The Weeknd is a good Canadian kid. I got the backs of my good Canadian kids. Maybe many of you didn't know The Weeknd was Canadian, but he's a good Canadian kid. But I mean, he's never written anything. So what makes you think the person he partnered up with was the problem and not The Weeknd? Again, I'm not bashing on the show because I haven't seen it, right? I've just heard some really fairly bad things about it. But look, of course, because he's a good Canadian kid, I will give it a shot. I will check it out. But yeah, the reviews have been pretty funny to read, to be honest with you. All right, what's next?
All right, Brandon Nezamuddin writes, Flash screenings yesterday, a disaster. Someone was arrested and fans who traveled miles to see it couldn't due to overbooking while influencers got in. Little boy in a Flash shirt was heard crying.
Well,
I mean, look, he could have just been
here's
crying
the thing,
for anything.
though. I went to an advanced fan screening of Guardians of the Galaxy 3 about a week before it came out. And the thing is, they tell you, at least if it's one of the types of fan screenings that I've always gone to, it says right in the thing, your seat is not guaranteed. It tells you that. Your seat's not guaranteed. And they tell you that they overbook to make sure that it's actually crowded. Because you know how it is. Like, people say they're going to go and they book, but then some people don't show up and then they don't have a full house. So they tell you right in the things, we do overbook. Your seat is not guaranteed. Come early, and all that kind of stuff. And if they tell you that and they're transparent about it, like I remember Ann and I got there to go to our screen in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. We got there about 2 hours early and we were about 100 people deep in line already. And then it was funny because like 10 minutes before they were supposed to open the doors and let us in, there were still people showing up. It's like, I don't know why these people think they're going to get in. And sure enough, a lot of people didn't get in. But I mean, it's just one of those things. If it tells you that, look, we can't guarantee seating, we do overbook, as long as they're transparent about that, then it's kind of on you. You know, you're rolling the dice. And I knew full well that we were going 2 hours early, but there was a chance that even at 2 hours early, it might be too late. Now, fortunately for us, we weren't late. But yeah, it is. Unfortunately, it's just one of those things.
Read everything. Read the fine print. Just make sure you're prepared and just go early like John did.
Now, if you had to pay for those tickets, fuck them. Go, sue their asses.
Yeah.
But I mean, these advanced fan screenings, they do let you know this stuff. At least every single one that I've ever seen.
But you know what? That's good news for The Flash. People are excited for it.
People are excited for it, and they should be excited for it because it's a damn good movie. Yep. All right, what's next?
All right, Brendan is back. He writes, Max has new profile icons for all the Justice League, including Ezra Miller, except for Ray Fisher's Cyborg. So petty.
Oh, except for Ray Fisher?
Yeah.
But I don't know what they mean. Like, I guess I should go on and look. I'll try to see.
Well, because Ray Fisher
had like a little thing.
Yeah, Ray Fisher just went on a bash WB kind of campaign.
Yeah.
I don't think that's, I'll be honest with you, I don't think that's petty. Listen, if you want to go to war with somebody, which, right or wrong, I'm not saying who's right, who's wrong. I'm saying you want to go to war with somebody. Like if put it this way, if Ray Fisher launched the Ray Fisher streaming network tomorrow, do you think Ray Fisher would have WB as one of the icons? I don't think so. And I don't blame him. And so I don't blame them either.
And who's to say WB or Max made that decision? Maybe Ray Fisher didn't want his likeness being used.
Well, considering how much Ray Fisher trash talks WB, I wouldn't doubt that at all. But I don't find that to be petty at all. Somebody's shit talking. It's like, well, I'm not going to put their face on my app then. I think that's completely reasonable. That ain't petty at all. Just like I said, if Ray Fisher started his own thing tomorrow and not have, like if he had a Disney logo and a Paramount logo but didn't have a WB one, I wouldn't think that was petty of him. It's like, hey, everybody knows you got beef with each other, so I don't blame you for not putting it there.
I would have used his avatar. He has a cool name, right? Oh, man.
All right, what's next?
Okay, John Redcorn writes, I don't know if you guys talked about, but what are your thoughts on Chiwetel Ejiofor joining Venom 3? And do you think we'll see Mordo again?
Number one, I have not heard that.
I haven't either.
If Chiwetel Ejiofor is joining Venom 3, I'm going to be real fucking excited. I think Chiwetel Ejiofor is simply put, one of the best actors on the planet. I became a huge Chiwetel Ejiofor fan all the way back at Serenity. Is that the news coming out?
Collider, Deadline, Chiwetel Ejiofor joins Tom Hardy in next installment.
Okay, I'm
in, baby.
I'm fucking in. He is one of my absolute favorite actors in the world.
Well, I have to read into more of this.
Yeah, I'll have to read. When does this give a timestamp on that?
Oh, wow. We didn't catch
this. Says 2:30.
It said 6 days ago if this was.
Wait, May 16th.
How
did this fly over our
Chiwetel is like one of my favorite guys in the world. How did was that a weekend? Were we off?
It was last Tuesday.
I never knew.
I know we were going through a lot that day.
We were going through it.
Yeah, we were going through. Just remember, we were going through it that day. So this news did pass over us.
Oh my God, that's so crazy because he is absolutely one of my absolute 100% favorite guys in the world and actors in the world. So I'm very excited about that. I didn't even know. 5 days old.
Sorry we missed.
See,
this.
we learn something new every day.
Thank you
from our
for
audience.
letting
this
us
is
know.
amazing. All right, what's next?
Okay, now we've got. We just did John Redcorn. Brendan is back. I keep saying Brendan. I'm sorry, Brandon. You think Guardians of the Galaxy 3 could beat Fast X this weekend?
I find it highly doubtful. Let me double check something here. So this past weekend, Guardians of the Galaxy made $32 million. Next weekend, I'm thinking Fast and the Furious will make domestically 30 million or less. I don't think that would mean to beat Fast X next weekend, Guardians would have to take less than a 1% drop. I don't think that's happening.
Yeah, I think everyone's seen it.
Like, because you got Guardians of the Galaxy going into its 4th weekend, and Little Mermaid is opening, and Fast X is out. I don't think it's reasonable to think Guardians of the Galaxy isn't going to take a drop from this weekend to next weekend. So, no, I do not believe Guardians of the Galaxy is the better movie, but I do not believe Guardians of the Galaxy will beat Fast X next weekend. Fast X will take a pretty big drop, but not enough for Guardians of the Galaxy 3 to pass it. So I don't think so. All right, what's next?
Okay, we've got Unknown who writes, I was lucky enough to see The Flash last night in an early fan screening in San Francisco. OMG, it's fantastic and better than I thought it was going to be. I can't wait to see it again.
You know, we talked for a long time going in that I had personally heard from people close to the situation that Flash was amazing. Then we all started seeing reports coming out that, you know, James Gunn was saying stuff like he thinks it's one of the best comic book movies ever made, and they completely believe in the film and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, Andy Muschietti, the director of the film, did such a phenomenal job and blah, blah, blah. So I was real excited to see it, despite all the Ezra Miller nonsense. And again, Ezra Miller needs to never be Flash again after this movie is done. They need to never be Flash again. I'll never watch another thing with Ezra Miller as Flash. But again, this movie was made before all the nonsense with Ezra Miller, so I don't blame Warner Brothers for it. Or Andy Muschietti. That being said, I went in to watch it at CinemaCon a few weeks ago, not really knowing, but I was, even with high expectations, I was thrilled. I do not believe it's one of the top 3 greatest comic book movies of all time or anything like that, but it's great. It was better than I think even the hype made it up to be. I just thought it was fantastic, and I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yep.
Again, it's a movie, which means it's subjective, which means it's not going to be for everybody. Not everyone's going to love it, but I loved it.
Yeah, it's my favorite DC film by far. But not including the Nolan stuff, just the DCEU. That's my top film out of all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, so good. All right, what's next?
Seth Rollins, or John Redcorn writes, thoughts on Seth Rollins joining Captain America 4?
Don't care.
What?
Why would I care?
didn't even know that. He did. He's probably going to play a small role.
I don't get super excited about somebody who's not a real actor going
I know,
into a real
but
movie,
come on. For me, I'll answer this question.
But it's going to be a super small. You know what?
Yeah,
it's going to be
super
something
small
along
role.
the lines of George St. Pierre.
That's what I was thinking too.
Right? As Batroc the Leaper.
Yeah.
You know, was in there, did a fight sequence, was out. They brought him back for a bit for Falcon the Winter Soldier, but again, they didn't give him much acting to do. Just put him in there, do his action because he's so good at it. Seth Rollins, George St. Pierre is one of the world's greatest martial artists walking on the face of the earth, so he's going to make fight scenes look great. I don't know what a wrestler's going to do, but so don't really care. Don't really care. It's not going to be a significant role. It's not going to be important. So I don't really care all that much. All right, what's next?
Okay, we've got Bobby Jackson who writes, hi, John. I think you're experiencing the Mandela Effect when it comes to opening crawl. The line is actually the dead speak.
Yep.
And not somehow the Emperor returns. Both are bad, but wanted to make the distinction.
Well, no, look, when people say, people don't actually remember it saying somehow, but that is the implied message of the thing. There is no explanation given. Like, you want to bring the Emperor back, fine. Actually, when we first found out that the Emperor was going to be coming back, because in the trailer they had the Emperor's laugh, right? Super excited. I like the idea that they were bringing back the Emperor. But I got excited because I just assumed you'd be giving us a pretty damn good explanation. Mm-hmm. An interesting idea about how flash back to the events of Vader throwing him over the rail and then actually show us that halfway down, kind of the same thing happened to him that happened to Luke. Remember when Luke fell down in Bespin in Empire Strikes Back and then got sucked into an air tunnel, went down the thing. He was like, show us that. But this whole thing, somehow, some way, we're not going to tell you how.
It wasn't even
the Emperor's back.
Yeah, it wasn't even in the crawl. Like, I believe though, like Poe or somebody said that in like a strategy meeting. They're like, he's back somehow. The word to paraphrase.
But that's the whole implied message. Somehow the Emperor's back.
Yeah.
The dead speak. It's somehow he's back. It was just, look, there are so many things that went wrong with The Rise of Skywalker, but it right there, right at the beginning, in the opening crawl, you just knew, oh shit, this is going to be bad. They don't even bother telling us how or why they're just everybody. By the way, everybody, the movie's starting and everybody in the universe knows the Emperor's back. But isn't that a rather major development? But anyway, yeah.
Do we even get that message of revenge? Do we hear it? Because in the crawl it says a message of revenge goes out across the galaxy.
You know what I think they did? If guys in the live chat, correct me if I'm wrong. I think they broadcast it on what's the damn video game?
Fallen Order?
What's that?
Fallen Order?
No. The biggest video game in the world that everybody plays.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's like the first person.
The first person shooter, the survival game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Battlefront.
No, it's not a Star Wars game.
Oh, it's not
like the world's biggest game.
Overwatch.
Not Overwatch. Fortnite. That's what it is. It was Fortnite. I believe they actually did a special event in Fortnite.
My God.
Where people were playing Fortnite and they actually broadcast this message that went out across the galaxy. If I'm not mistaken, I think they did that as like a cross-promotional thing. Yeah. Anyway, all right, what's next?
The Empire Strikes Back, Street Boys writes, X-Men Days of Future Past.
But just for a sec, just scroll back a little bit again, back to the last question there. Bobby sent in a $20 super chat. Thank you, Bobby, for supporting us on that level, man. That's really generous of you, dude. All right, now what's next?
All right, well, The Empire Strikes Back, Street Boys. X-Men Days of Future Past premiered exactly 9 years ago.
Wow.
That dystopian future takes place in 2023 and makes me grateful to live in Florida.
I do not live in Florida.
But he says, I mean, that world.
9 years. Look, to this day, I believe X-Men Days of Future Past is one of the greatest comic book movies ever made. I love that movie. It's absolutely very, very securely in my top 10 greatest of all time. Not in top 3, but that is like, I even thought at the time people weren't giving it its due, because I think people were getting a little bit of X-Men fatigue at the time, whatever, because, the movies had been, they struggled a bit, right? But X-Men Days of Future Past, it's just one of the best comic book movies. That movie's so freaking good. I love that so much.
Great crossover of the two different teams.
Yeah. Like a lot of people talk about X-Men First Class, and don't get me wrong. I like X-Men First Class very much, as a matter of fact, but I think Days of Future Past is just on a different level. Like, I really do.
Yeah, below First Class. A different level, but lower.
All right, what's next?
Sam Fisher writes, when I talked about the people around Superman being more important on today's show, it was because, to me, that then informs the human side of Clark.
Well, I mean, because, I talked about this earlier, but Superman, the really interesting stuff about Superman is he's the God man, and an emphasis on the man part, like trying to figure out what his role in the world is. And his reflection of that and his struggle of that is reflected in the people that are around him, right? And that's what makes the character of Superman such a rich subject matter, that you can do a lot of really cool things dramatically with that if you bother to take the time to do it. And again, while it is not my favorite Superman movie, Superman Returns might be the Superman movie that does the best job ever at kind of looking at that aspect of it. Man of Steel does pretty good with that too. Like the whole idea about Clark, the whole movie of Man of Steel, which is so fucking brilliant, that movie. But Man of Steel, it really just starts with him basically wandering. He's the wandering man, right? He's wandering the world, trying to figure out, number one, who he is, what's his place in this world. And he's trying to get all that figured out. Now, unfortunately, they didn't go into it as deep as they do, say, in Superman Returns. But it's an aspect of Superman that I really wish they would look at a little bit more. All right, what's next?
Okay, we've got Jared Oberfeld who writes, and thank you for $20 super chat.
Thank you, Jared.
So Jared says, I said something in an AMC group on Facebook that I should not have. I'm mad at myself, which has made me depressed today. I'm going to at least take a break from that group and work to better myself. Any advice? Thanks.
Well, I'm not a part of any AMC group.
Yeah, but he's just saying he messed up.
Well, I would say, Jared, just real quick, you've already taken the first step. You've kind of removed yourself and you're going introspective. So that's step one.
Listen, always remember this. One of the things I say a lot on the show, when I point out like a really irritating thing, I'll often say on the show, because it's true, I will often say on this channel, on the podcast, whatever, I will often say, and hey, listen, we are all guilty of this. You've done it. I've done it, blah, blah. The reason I say that a lot is because it's important to remind ourselves, we all, right? Every single one of us says something we wish we didn't say. We all do it. There is not one person watching this video. There's not one person in this room. There's not one person listening to this later on in a podcast feed. None of us have gone even 3 days, nay, maybe even any one day, without at the end of the day going, I wish I didn't say that, or I wish I didn't do that, right? It's a human thing. We all do it. And yeah, when you do it, maybe sometimes just take a step back, whatever. But just remember, you did it. Everybody's done it. And unfortunately, the real unfortunate thing is you're probably going to do it again tomorrow. And you're probably going to do it again the next day. The thing is, little bit by little bit, let's take little lessons away from it. All right, what's next?
Okay, we've got, not quite sure how to pronounce this. So I'll just say Eunice, maybe. Hey, crew, Indy 5 has a 50% score on Rotten Tomatoes. Can they still make changes to the film before opening, or is this movie locked?
Oh, no, the movie's locked. You know, I think it was either the first or second episode of Succession. Logan Roy says, I'm trying to steer a tanker. Now, the meaning of that is, of course, if you're piloting this giant ass ship tanker, you can't just turn the wheel and the thing turns, right? It's like this forever. That's a movie. There's no making changes to it. There's 1,000 people involved in making a movie, locations booked, equipment set aside, all that kind of stuff. It would take you 3 months just to get everybody together to make a 5-second change to a movie, other than in the edit bay. You can maybe do an edit, but that's not really changing too much. So, nope. It is what it is. And now they're going to put it out in theaters. I mean, I saw Harrison Ford the other day come out, and he was kind of responding to some of the negative reviews. And he made a pretty impassioned defense of the film. And okay, great. I mean, I look, it's still Indiana Jones. It's still James Mangold. I'm still excited to see it. I'm bummed out that, you know, a lot of people are not, a lot of the critics are not so pumped about it, that they're not saying great things about it. Yeah, that sucks.
I will say it's only 38 reviews, which means it's only 19 bad reviews.
Right. But here's the problem. Is those 38 reviews, the vast majority of those are not Gus's gas station movie reviews .fart outlets. These are the outlets that got credentialed and went to the Cannes Film Festival. So you're talking Hollywood Reporter, you're talking Variety, you're talking The Wrap, you're talking about Entertainment Weekly, you're talking about those. And out of that collection, yeah. And by the way, can this kill? There are still brain dead idiots out there who spew this nonsense of, like, when a movie comes out that people have an agenda and they don't want the movie to be good, and they go, well, critics just say it's good because they're afraid of losing their access. Listen, there's not one fucking legitimate movie critic out there who's afraid of losing access, number one. But can this please put that to rest? Clearly, there's a lot of the critics at the Cannes Film Festival coming out and saying they didn't like Indiana Jones. So just shut the fuck up. That being said, it's a bummer. I was really hoping that this one would wash the taste of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull out of our mouths and give Harrison Ford the send-off that he wants. And maybe it won't be that. Now, look, I haven't seen the movie yet. Maybe I'll frickin' lose my mind loving it. It'll be my favorite one. Maybe I'll despise it. Maybe I'll hate it. I mean, I don't know yet, so I can't say. But I'm still going to go in with the highest of hopes. And if it doesn't work, you know what? I still got Harrison Ford in Shrinking. Because that is the best thing Harrison Ford has done in, like, well over a decade. You should watch Shrinking if you're not watching it.
And he had the chance to close this chapter of his career. You know what I mean? I mean, even if it's not good, the people who love Indiana Jones, they'll find something in it to enjoy. I mean, I think it's like there's a lot of franchises that just go nowhere, and like that people love that like don't end. Let's give Harrison his flowers with this Indiana Jones franchise.
Yeah.
Let him
And again, watch Shrinking. I've not loved Harrison Ford in something as much as this in, like, again, well over a decade. He is so good in it. Anyway, and it's so funny. All right, what's next?
Okay, Fangblaze71 writes, do you think the upcoming Minecraft movie will have a chance at rivaling Mario or top box office, assuming it's as good or better?
Every movie coming out has the possibility of being a rival for Mario's, depending how it's marketed, whether the trailers look amazing, if it gets good word of mouth. I mean, so since the answer is every movie coming out has the chance to be a rival to the Mario Brothers movie, then yes, it has a chance. Every movie coming out does. So better or worse, it'll all depend on how good is the movie made, how well is it marketed, does it look like a lot of fun, all that kind of stuff. Now, Minecraft has been very, very popular for a long time, but it's not Mario.
It's a little late, I think, for a movie. There's still a lot of people who play it. It just has to be really good. And if it could bring in the people who aren't familiar with Minecraft to enjoy it, it has a chance. But I just think it's a little late for a Minecraft movie.
All right, what's next?
Okay, The Empire Strikes Back, Street Boys. The most anticipated superhero film of 2025 is neither Superman Legacy nor Fantastic Four. It's clearly Fast X Part 2 or maybe 3, The Electric Boogaloo.
Man, I'll tell you what.
You might get a Part 2. You ain't getting no Part 3.
I don't know that I'm going to be able to get excited for Fast X Part 2. I mean, I hated at Fast 9. But I still love the franchise, and then the trailers came out for Fast X, and even though I hated 9, I still got really excited for 10. I don't know if I can get my enthusiasm up again. Like, they made such a bad movie with 10. A bad movie with some really entertaining things in it, yes, that I still walked out going, I'm glad I saw it, but it's like, what? Is there a law somewhere that I'm not familiar with that says, hey, if you have some exciting action, you're not allowed to have good dialogue? If you have exciting action and good fight scenes, you're not allowed to have a good story. If you have like a great villain, and I think Dante's a great villain thing. If you have a great villain, you also have to have 17 giant plot holes that make absolutely no sense in your movie. Like, I don't know if there's a law out there that lays that out, but I don't know why. You know, with all the money and effort they put into having these eye-popping car chase scenes and these great hand-to-hand combat scenes, you couldn't have bothered to write a decent script. It's almost like they went, nobody cares. Really? Did you read the dialogue in this scene? Like, this looks like it's written by a 4-year-old. It doesn't matter, because then they're going to get in a car and Vin's going to hit the switch where the NAS or NOS or Nitro or whatever fuckface it is going to go in there, and then everybody's going to be excited. No one's going to care about the dialogue. I just don't know why you can't do both. Why can't you put a little bit of effort into making a decent movie while putting together just some fun action sequences? But it is what it is.
It'll only take one thing for me to watch this, even if I miss the past 2. Show me a space shuttle in the trailer.
They did space already.
No, but I meant the whole thing is in space.
The whole thing is space. Yeah. They race around the moon.
Space race.
Either that or show me
they're racing moon buggies
some Top
on the
Gun
moon.
stuff. Go start racing in the air. Something.
All right. What's next?
All right. Murray Reich writes, it's amazing how the Fast Furious movies gets away with so much for a PG-13 rating. I always thought they were. I didn't even took notice of that. They were too. Especially Fast X. A lot of people got murdered or beaten brutally.
Fast X isn't even remotely close to the edge of PG-13 that I've seen before. Yeah, people get murdered, but you don't see blood.
Not casino murdered.
Like action, and most of the people that die are faceless. There's a reason, by the way, that a lot of times in these movies that soldiers or whatever will have full face coverings. That goes into the MPA and their rating system, because it's not humanized, right? We don't see their faces. So they're kind of like just this nebulous being things. And when they get shot, you don't see the bullet going through the throat and a giant blood splat against the wall and stuff like that. You can get that. This is why when people are like, oh, if something's PG-13, that means it's not going to be violent. No, listen, you can get away with a lot with a PG-13 movie if you follow just a couple of little rules, right? First rule is, if it's monsters, and I don't just mean like Godzilla monsters, I mean like a vampire or a zombie or whatever, you can do whatever you want to do to those things in a movie, and the MPA is not going to really care. If you don't show blood, like listen, Venom 2, in the scene where Carnage breaks out of prison, Carnage brutally murders a lot of people in some very brutal ways. But guess what? There's no blood splatter. And because there's no blood splatter, the MPA is a lot more lenient on it. So yeah, with Fast X, I don't think I saw anything in Fast X that I even would think rubs up against the wall of maybe becoming an R-rated film. I mean, violent, yeah, but it's it's pretty much Saturday morning cartoony kind of violence. And as long as there's no blood squibs, no heads being severed, and they're faceless, people, they were pretty safe. I don't think they were at any risk of getting up that rated R. All right, what's next?
All right, we've got Fangblaze71. I wonder how closely Five Nights at Freddy's will stay to the game lore. The games get dark and involve a lot of kids being murdered quite brutally.
I'll tell you what, Fangblaze. I don't know. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think it's PG-13. And as like I just finished telling you, you can get away with a lot with PG-13. But I mean, we're not going to see an animatronic teddy bear ripping the beating heart and organs out of a child, right? We're not going to be seeing that.
Oh, I played it too.
Did you play it?
I played it.
What do you think about it?
Because you can play it. There's like an online version of it. It's the same thing. It's kind of creepy, man. I'm not gonna lie. Because
did it make you look at the trailer differently now?
No. I still think the trailer is not as good as that game. Like the scare factor in that game. Give me some more, just views of just the cameras. I don't even need to have actors in it. That whole thing right there.
It's almost like a found footage movie?
No. Just the like you can only see one area. You can't see everything else that's going on. The unknowing in that game.
Yeah, because you don't have the peripheral vision.
Is the most terrifying thing because you switch the camera. There's one of the things was started running across the camera, and I was like, "What?" and then they're slowly moving and all that stuff. It's crazy.
Part 4 is even worse. I think it's
not
like
seeing things that's scary about.
I think part 4 you're in like the kid's bedroom.
Well, I never got to part 4 or anything like this. So how closely they're going to follow it? Honestly, I have no idea. I mean, it's a difficult one to try to do narratively in an hour and 50-minute movie. So I don't know how close they're going to follow it. I just hope they can capture the spirit of it. Mm-hmm. And
Peacock will get that done.
Yeah, always trust Peacock. Always trust Peacock. I would have felt better if it was on Europussy. If it was on Europussy, I would know that they would do it justice. All right, what's next?
All right. Norel S says, "Hey guys, just wanted to say thanks for all you do. We appreciate it. Have a great day."
Oh, thank you, Norel. Appreciate that very much, man. That's very kind of you. All right, what's next?
CJ Rebirth writes, "Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland is the only live Disney remake so far that I prefer more than the cartoon, and it's also in the $1 Billion Club." Well, this is where you and I separate, CJ.
I just remember how much I disliked the sequel. Remember they did part 2?
Oh no.
Of
the live action version.
Oh yeah, I don't even remember those. I didn't.
That was bad. That was rough. I forgot that first one though joined the $1 Billion Club. I mean, listen. They marketed that film really well. I mean, it was bright, it was colorful, it was recapturing a lot of the nostalgia of the original story. Johnny Depp was very hot at the time. They just captured lightning in a bottle and did all. I don't know what happened then with Alice in Wonderland 2. I mean, that movie was terrible. But I mean, it's an old story like a lot of with a lot of sequels. Mm-hmm. All right, what's next?
All right, Sam Fisher has a two-parter. One of my favorite things to watch on YouTube are model makers. There's one named North of the Border who makes some great stuff. Like he made a cursed Scandinavian folklore-style Easter bunny over Easter weekend a couple months ago.
I love models.
We're talking about like the little ones that you build, right?
Yeah, like you get the right, but I can't make them. There's something in my brain. I remember when I was a kid, I loved fighter jet models.
Oh yeah, those things are so intricate.
Loved them, but I couldn't put them together for shit, and I still can't. And so what I would do is I would beg my friends. Well, one friend in particular, Justin Brownlee. I would ask my friend Justin Brownlee, who lived across the street. I say, look, I'll do whatever for you. What can you put my model together? I'll buy it. Can you put it together for me? And then, like an idiot, after spending some money on the models and get my friend to do it and the things I had to do for my buddy to get him to make them, what we would ultimately end up doing is taking our model fighter jets
and then
taping a little firecracker to it, lighting the firecracker. Oh no, we were stupid. I could have lost fingers. Putting a firecracker on it and then waiting to the last second as the wick's getting down and then tossing it way up in the air and pretend like enemy fire has shot down the plane. But anyway,
we're leaving.
There are so many models I wish I could get. You know what I want more than anything else, Ray? As far as like a toy or a collectible or a model, what I want more than anything else, I want a giant ass Star Destroyer. And I found one.
A model or like Legos? Or either
No,
one.
he means
Whatever.
like a model.
Or
I'd
either one.
rather get I'd rather get one that's already put together, right? But I found one. It was like 6.5 feet long. It was totally gorgeous.
That's not a model anymore.
I wanted so bad, but it had to be put together. And I'm like, well, there goes that.
You know what? I will say
I can't do it. I can't do it.
I will say
gotta
the
have
bigger the
patience for it.
model, the easier it probably is for me to put together. When it gets smaller, that's when I
But
fumble.
it said it was like 8,000 pieces, and I'm like, I'm not going to be able to do that.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's not.
Like, who am I kidding? But even the Lego ones, I know I'm not going to be able to put this together. So I talked to Anne. I remember I asked your sister once, because there's this like $700 Lego Star Destroyer.
I've been looking at Legos too.
That looks, it's so big and so great. And I remember asking your sister, well, yes, I had to ask permission because that's a lot of money. So like,
Yeah,
what
come
would
on.
you think about me buying that? And like, Anne was like, yeah, it would look really good. It would be cool. I said, then how much do you think it would cost me to hire somebody on TaskRabbit to come in for 4 days to put it together? Because it says like, there's everything I look, it says takes X amount of
I'll
days.
put it together for free.
Would you put it together?
If you bought it, yeah. That's like a project that's like something where as soon as you get going and you start seeing it come together, there's nothing better than finishing that thing off.
Because here's
And they make extra stuff for all Legos. Like I was looking at the moon landing set and I wanted it, and people make lights for it.
oh my God.
So that Star Destroyer probably has a light kit, and that's just topping on the cake.
Now,
right there.
no, don't get me wrong. I am not a money spender, right? There's a reason I have 4 Sideshow collectible Hot Toys. There's a reason I have 4, right? I'm not like some people we know who have spent like over $200,000 on Hot Toys. Okay, I don't spend money very much. So every once in a while, when I'm looking at something like a Star Destroyer, I'm like, okay, $700. Okay, that's a lot of money.
Just
But it's like one
every
thing
now
I
and
would
then.
buy in 3 years, right? So I don't know.
Every now and then, you just got to get one of
I'm
those
thinking.
things, man.
I'm
It's
thinking.
life.
But
Life.
if you
Only
can put
live
it
once.
together, because you know what we do? I would have you put it together and then crackle it. And by crackle, if you've seen the Lego movie, you know what I mean. It glue. I would like have you put it
Oh,
together,
yeah.
then
You don't want that
clear
thing to
glue the
break.
whole
Yeah.
thing so it would never fall
Yeah,
apart.
yeah, I got you.
All right, what's next?
Okay, we've got Christopher Brickner, who writes, I think Fast and Furious needs Chris Morgan back as a writer. He wrote films 3 to Hobbs and Shaw, as he wrote all of the well-reviewed Fast and Furious films.
You know what? Hobbs and Shaw was truly a Fast and the Furious movie in that it got ridiculous. I mean, hell, they literally brought superpowers into it with Idris Elba, right? They literally started making superheroes. It's okay. But it was fun, and it was much better dialogue, and it was a much less story, plot holes and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, it was, yes, I think you're right. I think they should definitely bring him back. All right, what's next?
Okay, Donaldo Martinez writes, I watched 310 to Yuma, and I must say Ben Foster was the best actor over Russell Crowe and Christian. Ben Foster's amazing.
Ben
Well, this
Foster.
is why I've said for a long time that Ben Foster is probably the most underrated actor in the business. Ben Foster rules in everything he's in. And it was 310 to Yuma that I really stood up and took notes, because he's in 310 to Yuma with honestly 2 of the best actors in the world, Christian Bale and Russell Crowe. And he upstaged both of them. He upstaged Christian Bale and Russell Crowe in the same movie. This guy is absolutely phenomenal. He doesn't get the big leading roles or whatever, but whatever he's in, he brings it. And he's absolutely fantastic. All right, what's next?
Okay, we've got Harvs K, who writes, hey gang, without getting into Guardians of the Galaxy 3 spoilers, did you see that James Gunn confirmed the fate of the High Evolutionary at the end of the film?
Well, we can't discuss
Yeah,
that. Obviously,
I
we
mean,
can't.
his question didn't spoil it, but if we answered it, it spoiled.
Unfortunately, we can't discuss that.
Well, if people
No,
wanna
no,
know,
well, no,
if
we
people
can't
want to know,
discuss it.
go look for it.
Yeah,
Go
if
look
you
for
want to
that
know,
answer.
go see Guardians of the Galaxy
Yeah.
3 and go look for what James Gunn said. All right, what's next?
All right, Jake Clark writes, watch Missing if you haven't, one of the best of 23. That was a sequel to
Searching.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not a
Not
sequel.
re- yeah, it's not a
It's like
sequel.
a spiritual
It's a
sequel, yeah.
spiritual sequel.
It's
right?
great.
I remember because Missing was John Cho, Deborah Messing.
Yeah.
Or searching.
Searching. What did I say?
Missing.
Did I say
Missing's
Missing?
the new one.
I'm
Missing's
sorry,
the new one.
Searching.
Searching's, yeah.
John Cho, Deborah Messing. It's one of the, it did not look interesting at all. It's, again, cheap, low budget, found footage kind of movie. No, thank you. And then I had a couple of friends of mine watch and said, John, I think you'd really like this. Very creative, very well done. The way they piece it all together and run it all out, it's really quite good. So sure enough, I went and checked it out and loved it. Now, I have not seen Missing, the follow-up. But again, it's not, from what I understand, it is not a sequel. It's just like the spiritual follow-up to it. You have seen Missing.
Yeah. Searching showed us what you could do with technology at the time it was released, like the internet. This one updates it a little bit. So yeah, it's just as good as Searching, I think. If you want to watch either one, you won't be disappointed.
All right. And is that it?
That's all.
Great. And with that, we're doing really good at coming in at the 1 hour mark. With that down, guys, that'll do it for today's installment of Open Mic. Thank you so much for being here and making this little show a part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in those tips and the super chats. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did, and all of us involved with the channel. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Guys, don't forget to make sure you go and follow our podcast. The John Campea Show is now primarily a podcast, and you can find it on your favorite podcasting app of choice, be on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever your podcast app is. Just search for the John Campea Show and find it there. It comes out every single day, Monday through Friday. So thank you to everybody who's already signed up for it. We were overwhelmed by how many of you guys jumped over, made the transition to the podcast feed. We've been on the top 10 of Spotify now for a number of days straight. That's all because you guys went down. We don't expect to stay there because it's all based on new activity and everything. But the fact that so many of you went over and subscribed, that it popped us right up into the top 10. Thank you guys so much for that. Don't forget to come back and join us tomorrow. We'll have a bunch of topics we're going to cover, both on the YouTube channel and, of course, on our podcast. So for Ray Ora, Jonathan Voico, my name's John Campea. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.